Good day, everybody. Today we are now going to discuss the mixing methods for cookies and brownies. But before that, let us first define what is cookies and brownies. So, a cookies is a type of baked or cooked food that is typically small, flat and sweet, and it is usually contains flour, sugar, and some type of oil or fat. And sometimes it contains also raisins, oats, chocolate chips, nuts, and others. While brownies is a bar-baked dessert, and this is not considered as cake. Typically, it contains chocolate, eggs, butter, sugar, flour, salt, and vanilla extract. So let us now proceed to the mixing methods. Cookies like quick breads and cake batters are made from a rich dough that is mixed using the creaming method. Most cookie doughs contain less liquid than other batter. We don't need to alternate our flour and liquid. The final texture of a cookie is determined by the proper creaming and the amount it spreads during baking. And cookies can be leavened with first baking soda, then baking powder, then air and steam. They are usually high in fat, which contributes to flavor and tenderness and extends shelf life. So let us now proceed to the make-up methods. There are many varieties of classifications for cookies. This refers to the way in which the cookie is prepared after the dough has been made. We have here the cake preparation techniques. We have the drop. So aside from it is a technique, may dalat talaga kita gintatawag nga or may da talaga drop cookies. This is cookie where the dough is scooped or spooned into mounds and then baked. Some examples would be chocolate chip, oatmeal, and peanut butter. While it is not important for these cookies to be uniform in shape, but it is good practice to have uniform size and placement to assist in proper baking. Then may dalat kita gintatawag nga ice box as technique. So may dala talaga ice box cookies. So these cookies are made from dough that has been shaped into lugs or rectangles, chilled thoroughly at least overnight, then sliced into individual pieces and then baked. Many are often rolled in nuts or sugar before slicing because this gives them a wonderful, flavorful, decorative edge. Then we have the bar as technique. So we have also so-called bar cookies. So may dalat bar cookies. And these cookies are made from a stiff dough that churl into a log then bake. The bars are then cut into slices once baked. A very well-known bar type cookie is the biscotti. However, biscotti are different due to the fact that they go back in the oven after being sliced for a second baking time. And this produces a dry cookie that has quite a long shelf life. Then may dalat ginatawag nga shet as technique. So may dalat shet cookies. And these cookies are made from doughs or batters that are either poured, pressed, or layered into a shallow pan. These are cut into portions after baking. Most often they are baked in square or rectangle pans para ma-avoid waste or scraps. Then we have the cut-out as technique. So may dalat kita cut-out cookies. These cookies are made from a firm dough that has been well chilled and then rolled out to an even thickness. This dough is one that, if wrapped well, can be kept in the freezer for up to a month. The dough should be thawed in the fridge overnight, then use. Then we have the press as a technique. So may dalat kita press cookies. Commonly, this is known as the spritz. Pipe or bag cookies, these are made with a soft dough that can be forced through a piping bag or cookie press. It is best to use as soon as it is made. Most of this type of cookies are smaller and have a decorated shape. Then we have the rolled or molded as technique. So, madalat kita rolled or molded cookies. And this is a stiff dough that you can hand roll or shape into balls, crescents, or other shapes. Shortbread cookie dough is often pressed into carb. Then we have the wafer as technique. So, madalat kita wafer cookies. And these are made from a very thin egg foam batter that you pour or spread onto a cookie sheet to bake. While the cookies is still hot, we can mold it into a variety of shape. Then let us now proceed to panning and baking. Panning is a process that coats a center with sugar, syrup, chocolate, or both. It can be done manually in a bowl for small quantities. And according to our research, proper panning and baking ensures proper texture and color. Then, uniform thickness and even space between cookies on the baking sheet are important. Then most cookies should be cooled on a rack. Then store cookies at room temperature. Then storing crisp cookies with soft cookies is not recommended, as moisture from soft cookies will be absorbed by the crisp cookies.
Next is cookie formula balance. The crispiness, softness, or chewiness and spread are affected by ratio of ingredients. So first, what is ratio of ingredients? Ratios are the backbone of our favorite recipes for cookies, cakes, and more. And understand the base structures of these items is what separates the prove bakers from the fakers. Understanding the base structures of a few pastries, cakes, and the like means you can let your creative juices flow when you want to make a batch of cookies on the fly. You can make variations in flavors, add or substitute ingredients, but each ratio represents the basic components needed to create the most elemental version of that food. Next is the oven temperature. Throwing cookies in a cold oven or one that is not up to the proper temperature can drastically affect your cookies in the end. So whatever you do, be sure that you are not putting your cookies in an oven that is not at a specified recipe's temperature. And last is the pan coating. Next is the cookie temperatures. So table 10.1% the cookie textures. Desired texture, the crispiness. Fat is high, sugar is high, use granulated sugar, liquid is low, flour is strong, size or shape, thin dough, baking well done, cool on baking sheet. Next is the softness. So it low in fat, sugar is low, use hygroscopic sugars, and the liquid is high, flour is weak, size or shape, thick dough. Baking, use parchment lined pan, under bake. Next is chewiness. Fat is high, sugar is high, use hygroscopic sugars, liquid is high, flour is strong, size or shape not relevant, chilled dough. Baking, under bake, cool on rack. Next is the spread. Fat is high, sugar is high also, and use coarse granulated sugar. The liquid is high, especially from eggs. Flour is weak, size or shape not relevant, room temperature dough, and baking is use greased pan, low temperature. Next is brownies. So brownies are generally chewy and fudgy, sweeter and denser than the richest butter cake. They are prepared using the same procedures as high-fat cakes. Higher percentage of butter to flour and fewer eggs produce dense, fudgy brownies. Last is the convenience products. Dry mix requires the addition of water and frequently oil and eggs. Select products with quality ingredients, pure butter, nuts, and natural flavorings, high percentage of fruit and chocolate, few preservatives, and refrigerate frozen dough properly, and once thawed, it acts much like scratch product. So that's all. Thank you for listening.